All right, everyone, welcome back. Today we're going deep, really deep, into how P.D. Ouspensky connected the tarot with alchemy.
Yeah.
From our past deep dives, we know Ouspensky has some pretty unique perspectives on symbolism and how it all ties into inner transformation.
Yeah.
We've got a stack of his writings here, plus our notes from previous tarot explorations, and it's really amazing how he brings these two worlds together.
It is, yeah. It's fascinating how Ouspensky looked at these ancient systems, things like the Tarot, the Kabbalah, alchemy, and even magic.
Right.
Not so much as, literal practices, but more like symbolic frameworks, I guess. Like they
Yeah.
were all pointing towards the same fundamental truths about us and the universe.
So it's not so much about literally turning lead into gold, but more about the kind of gold we cultivate within ourselves.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. He was really convinced that the real transformation wasn't about, external things, but more about a kind of spiritual evolution within the soul.
Here's a quote from Ouspensky that really stuck with me. The letters of the Hebrew alphabet, the allegories of the Kabbalah, the names of metals and acids and salts in alchemy, all these were only means to veil truth from the uninitiated. What do you make of that? It sounds almost like, well, secretive, like there's some hidden knowledge here.
Yeah, that's a really key point. Ouspensky believed this knowledge was veiled in symbolism, for a reason. Like it wasn't meant for everyone, at least not in its raw form.
Right.
He felt it required a certain level of, I don't know, preparation, a willingness to go beyond the surface and really, really delve into the deeper meaning.
So what was the danger of this knowledge falling into the wrong hands, according to Ouspensky? Was it about misuse, or was it more about misunderstanding?
Well, he believed that esoteric knowledge, if it was misunderstood or misused, it could be incredibly dangerous.
Oh,
Like giving, a powerful tool to someone who didn't understand how to use it,
yeah.
the results could be disastrous.
Yeah.
He saw symbolism as a way of protecting this knowledge, like making sure it only reached those who were, I guess, truly prepared to receive it.
That's a thought-provoking idea.
Yeah.
So how does it fit into all of this?
Yeah.
I mean, we've touched upon it briefly in past episodes, but what was it about alchemy that Ouspensky found so, I don't know, so special?
Well, for Ouspensky, alchemy was, it was more than just like a proto-scientific kind of pursuit.
Right.
He saw it as a symbolic language, I guess you could say, for inner transformation. Alchemists, in their quest to turn lead into gold, they were actually engaging in a process of self-transformation. They were working with the raw materials of their own being, purifying and refining them to achieve a higher state of consciousness.
That makes me think of the Philosopher's Stone, that legendary substance that alchemists were always after.
Right.
Was it actually a physical substance for Ouspensky, or was it more symbolic?
Definitely a symbol. It represented that, that state of spiritual perfection, that gold in the soul of man that he talks about. It wasn't something you could find in a lab. It was something you cultivated within yourself through a process of inner work and transformation.
So the alchemical process was essentially a metaphor for the spiritual journey.
Precisely. The stages of the alchemical process, the heating, melting, dissolving, purification, all of those represented different stages of inner transformation.
And it reminds me of other spiritual traditions we've talked about before, like the concept of nirvana in Buddhism, or, the kingdom of heaven in Christianity.
Right.
They all seem to point towards this idea of inner transformation, this higher state of being.
Exactly. Ouspensky believed that these were all different expressions of the same universal truth, just using different metaphors and symbols to describe the same essential process.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see the connections here. So how did he bring the tarot into this alchemical framework? We know he had some pretty unconventional views on the tarot, especially the Minor Arcana.
One of the key ways was through the four elements: fire, water, air, and earth. They were central to both systems, and Ouspensky saw a very direct correlation between them and the four suits of the Minor Arcana.
Can you elaborate on that a little? How did he actually map the elements onto the suits?
Well, for Ouspensky, wands or scepters, those represented fire, cups represented water, swords represented air, and pentacles represented earth.
Right.
He saw each suit as embodying the qualities of its corresponding element. Like, for instance, fire, that was associated with energy, passion, and will, which, are qualities you see reflected in the wand suit. Water, that was associated with emotions, intuition, the subconscious, which aligns with the cups. Air that represented the intellect, communication, the realm of ideas, symbolized by the swords. And then earth, that represented, the material world, practicality, stability, embodied by the pentacles.
That's a really clear breakdown. It's fascinating how he saw those elemental connections in the suits. Did he go, I don't know, did he go deeper than that? Like looking at individual cards through this alchemical lens?
Oh, absolutely. He believed that every single card, through its suit and number, represented a very specific stage or principle within the alchemical process.
Wow.
He saw the Minor Arcana as and I'm quoting here, complete picture of all the possibilities of man's consciousness. And he believed that understanding these cards could give us just incredible insight into our own inner workings.
So it's like the Minor Arcana becomes, I don't know, like a map of our consciousness, reflecting all those different forces and elements that are at play within us.
Exactly. And Ouspensky believed that by understanding those forces, we could actually gain more control over our lives. Navigating challenges with more awareness and intention. He saw the tarot not just as, a tool for divination, but as a powerful tool for self-discovery and personal growth.
This is so intriguing. It's making me want to, I don't know, re-examine all the cards with this new lens. But before we get too lost in the details, I'm curious about those 56 cards of the Minor Arcana and how they fit into this bigger picture of alchemical transformation.
Yeah.
How did Ouspensky see them?
He believed that each of those 56 cards, with their specific suits and numbers, they represented a particular principle or stage in the alchemical process.
Right.
He saw them as reflecting the different forces at play in our consciousness, the interactions between the elements and the challenges and triumphs we face on the path to self-realization.
So it's like each card is, I don't know, like a microcosm of the alchemical process, reflecting a specific stage of transformation.
That's a great way to put it. And by studying these cards, understanding their symbolism and their connections to the alchemical process, we can gain a much, much deeper understanding of our own inner world and the forces that shape our lives.
This is fascinating. I can't wait to dive into some specific card examples and see how this all plays out. But before we do that, can you give us a quick overview of how Ouspensky viewed the Major Arcana?
Yeah.
Those more archetypal cards in relation to this alchemical journey.
Well, he saw the 22 Major Arcana cards as representing the major stages of the alchemical process, the archetypal forces that kind of drive our spiritual evolution.
Right.
He believed they held much, much deeper alchemical secrets, each card symbolizing a key step on the path to self-realization.
So it's like, I know the Major Arcana is like the roadmap for this inner transformation, and the Minor Arcana is, I don't know, like the detailed guidebook showing us the specific terrain we encounter along the way.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And by understanding both sets of cards, by seeing them through that lens of alchemy, we can gain a truly profound understanding of the journey we're all on, the challenges we face, and the potential for transformation that lies within each of us.
I'm so excited to explore all of this. All right, listeners, get ready, because we are going on a deep, deep dive into Ouspensky's Alchemical Tarot.
So, to really get a feel for how this all works, let's look at some specific card pairings.
Right.
Ouspensky, he often looked at the cards in pairs, kind of seeing them as complementary forces in that process of transformation.
That makes sense given the duality we keep seeing, with light and shadow, masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious. So which pair did Ouspensky find particularly, I don't know, significant in terms of this alchemical context?
Well, the one that really stands out is the Magician, that's card number 1, and the Fool, our 0 card. They really represent that very beginning of the journey, the raw potential and then the conscious direction of that potential.
Oh, interesting. The Magician always seems so, so in control with his tools and his confident stance, almost like, I don't know, like a master alchemist or something.
Right.
And then the Fool, well, he's stepping off the edge of a cliff with that knapsack and carefree spirit, almost like he's oblivious to the dangers ahead. How did Ouspensky reconcile those two seemingly opposite energies?
Well, he saw them as two sides of the same coin. Both essential for the alchemical process to even begin. The Fool, he represents that spark of divine creation, that prima materia, that raw, unformed substance that the alchemists worked with. It's pure potential, untainted by knowledge or experience, ready to embark on that journey of transformation.
It's that beginner's mind, isn't it? That sense of wonder and possibility we often lose as we, as we get older and more set in our ways.
Exactly. And then the magician comes in, right? To channel that raw potential, to direct that energy with conscious intention. He represents the will, the skill, the knowledge needed to actually navigate that path of transformation. He's the alchemist, I guess you could say, who takes that prima materia and begins that process of transmutation.
So it's not about being, either foolish or masterful. It's about embracing both of those aspects within ourselves, that balance of innocence and wisdom.
Precisely. We need that fool's energy to actually embark on the journey, to take risks, to explore the unknown. But we also need that magician's energy to focus our will, to hone our skills, to bring our vision into reality.
I love that. It's like we're all a bit of both the fool and the magician as we go on this alchemical journey of self-discovery. What other pairs did Ouspensky find illuminating?
Well, another fascinating one is the High Priestess, card number 2, and the World, card number 21. They represent the inner and outer realms of experience, the mystical and the manifest.
The High Priestess, she's always felt so, I don't know, so mysterious to me.
Yeah.
Almost like a guardian of secret knowledge. Sitting between those two pillars, veiled in blue, with the scroll of wisdom at her feet, and then the World, with its dancing figure surrounded by that wreath. It seems to represent, I don't know, completion, wholeness, a sense of unity with the cosmos.
Yeah.
How did Ouspensky connect those two seemingly disparate energies?
He saw the High Priestess as the gatekeeper to the unconscious, I guess you could say, the realm of intuition, dreams, hidden knowledge. She represents that inner work, the exploration of our depths, that connection to our inner wisdom. She's the alchemist who delves into the mysteries of the soul, seeking those hidden truths that lie within.
Like she's inviting us to go on an inner pilgrimage, to explore those hidden landscapes of our own psyche.
Exactly. And then the World, well, that represents the culmination of that inner journey, that integration of all that we've learned and experienced into a harmonious whole. It's the alchemist's magnum opus, the realization of the Philosopher's Stone, that manifestation of our true potential in the world.
So it's like the High Priestess is guiding us, inward to discover those hidden truths within ourselves. And then the World is the outward expression of that inner transformation, the realization of our wholeness in the manifest world.
Precisely. Ouspensky, he really believed that true understanding, true mastery came from this integration of the inner and outer, the mystical and the manifest.
It's like a journey from the microcosm to the macrocosm, from the depths of our being to the vastness of the universe. Okay, this is getting deep. What other card pairings can we explore through this alchemical perspective?
Well, he also found a profound connection between the Empress, card number 3, and Judgment, card number 20. They represent that cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth, which is, a key theme in alchemy.
Now, those seem like, I don't know, quite different energies to me.
Yeah.
The Empress, she's surrounded by abundance. She seems so full of life and creative potential, like, I don't know, like the embodiment of Mother Nature, fertile and nurturing. And then Judgment with its angel blowing a trumpet and figures rising from their graves. It seems, I don't know, a bit heavy, maybe even a little scary, to be honest.
Well, that's exactly the point Ouspensky was trying to make. He saw those cards as representing the two sides of the alchemical process, the creation and destruction, that building up and breaking down that's essential for transformation to even occur.
Right.
The Empress, she embodies that creative power of nature, that generative force that brings forth life in all its abundance.
She's like the alchemical vessel. The container in which that transformation takes place.
Exactly. And then Judgment represents that necessary destruction, that breaking down of old forms to make way for the new. It's the fire that purifies, that dissolution that allows for a rebirth, a transformation into a higher state of being.
It's like, I don't know, the phoenix rising from the ashes.
Right.
Or the seed that has to die in order to sprout a new life.
Right.
So it's not about, clinging to the pleasures of the Empress or fearing that intensity of Judgment. It's about understanding that both forces are necessary for growth and transformation to occur.
That's a brilliant insight. Ouspensky, he really believed that embracing the entire cycle, including the darker aspects like death and destruction, that was crucial for spiritual growth. He saw them not as, as endings, but as necessary stages in the alchemical process, leading to a higher level of being.
Okay, I'm really starting to see how Ouspensky was using these card pairings to highlight that dynamic tension between those seemingly opposite forces.
Yeah.
It's like he's encouraging us to embrace the complexity of life, that interplay of light and shadow, creation and destruction.
That's a very, very astute observation. Ouspensky, he was deeply influenced by Eastern philosophy, which, really emphasizes that concept of yin and yang, that balance of opposites. He saw this duality reflected in the tarot, with each card representing a particular aspect of this cosmic dance.
So it's not about striving for just the positive cards or experiences. It's about understanding that those so-called negative aspects are equally important for our growth and evolution.
Exactly. We need both the light and the shadow, the joy and the sorrow, the creation and the destruction, to fully experience the richness and complexity of life. And the tarot, through Ouspensky's alchemical lens, becomes a tool for navigating that dance of opposites with greater awareness and intention.
Okay, I'm hooked. This is giving me a whole new way to think about the tarot.
Yeah.
What other pairs stand out in Ouspensky's alchemical system?
Let's delve into the Emperor, card number 4, and the Sun, card number 19.
Okay.
They represent the principles of order and illumination, the structure and the energy that kind of drive the alchemical process.
Those feel like potent cards. The Emperor, he's sitting on his stone throne. He just exudes authority, structure, control. Like he's the ruler of the material world,
Right.
one who sets the rules and boundaries. And then the Sun, with its radiant child riding a white horse, it's just pure joy, vitality, life-giving energy.
Yeah.
How did Ouspensky see them as connected?
Well, he saw the Emperor as representing those divine laws that govern the universe, the structure and order that underpins, all creation. He's the architect of the cosmos, you could say, the one who establishes that framework within which the alchemical process can even unfold.
So he's like the alchemist's laboratory, the container that provides those necessary conditions for transformation to occur.
Precisely. And the Sun, well, that represents that divine spark, that creative force that animates that structure, bringing it to life with light and warmth.
Right.
It's the fire that fuels the alchemical process, the energy that drives transformation and growth.
It's like that saying, as above, so below.
Yeah.
The Emperor, he represents that cosmic order, that the divine blueprint, and the Sun, it reflects that order in the physical world, giving life and vitality to everything on Earth.
That's a beautiful connection, and it really highlights how Ouspensky saw the tarot as a reflection of these universal principles,
Yeah.
connecting the microcosm and the macrocosm.
Okay, this is really opening up my understanding of the cards. I'm starting to see how every card can be interpreted through this alchemical lens.
Yeah.
Revealing those deeper layers of meaning. What other pairings did Ouspensky find illuminating?
He drew a fascinating parallel between the Chariot, card number 7, and the Moon, card number 18.
Oh.
They represent those challenges of navigating duality, that interplay of control and surrender, the conscious and unconscious forces at play in our lives.
Now those seem like, I don't know, like quite contrasting images to me.
Yeah.
The Chariot, with its triumphant charioteer driving those two sphinxes, that often represents victory, willpower, forward momentum. And then the Moon, with its shadowy landscape and howling wolf, that's associated with dreams and illusions and the hidden depths of the psyche. How did Ouspensky reconcile those two seemingly opposite energies?
He saw the Chariot as a kind of cautionary tale, warning against mistaking outer conquest for true inner mastery. The charioteer might appear to be in control, but he's being pulled by those two sphinxes, one black and one white,
right,
representing that duality of our nature, the opposing forces within us that can lead us astray.
It's like trying to control a chariot pulled by by wild beasts.
Right.
You might think you're in charge, but those hidden forces can easily take over.
Exactly. Ouspensky believed that the real chariot, the real battleground, was within our own consciousness.
Hmm.
We need to conquer our own inner demons, our fears and desires to achieve true victory. And that's where the moon comes in, right?
Right.
It represents that realm of the unconscious, the world of dreams and illusions where those hidden forces reside.
So it's like the chariot's urging us to move forward with confidence and determination, and then the moon's cautioning us to be mindful of our inner world, those hidden forces that can sabotage our efforts.
That's a great way to put it. We need both the drive of the chariot and the introspection of the moon to really navigate life effectively. We need to be aware of both our conscious intentions and the unconscious forces that can influence our behavior.
This alchemical perspective is adding so much depth to these cards. I'm starting to see how it encourages us to look beyond that surface imagery and consider those deeper psychological and spiritual forces at play. What other pairings did Ouspensky find illuminating?
Let's dive into the dynamic duo of the lovers, card number 6, and the devil, card number 15.
Oh wow, okay.
They represent the two sides of love, the divine and the distorted. The liberating and the binding.
Ooh, those are some intense cards. The lovers with their angel and Adam and Eve, that often represents love, harmony, choice. And the devil with his chained figures and that inverted pentagram. Well, let's just say he has a bit of a darker reputation, representing temptation and shadow, the darker aspects of human nature. How did Ouspensky see them as connected?
Well, he saw them as representing those two paths that we can take in relationships, the path of love and the path of attachment, I guess you could say. The lovers, in their purest form, represent that power of love as a unifying force, a bridge to the divine. It's about choosing to connect with another being from a place of wholeness, of recognizing that divine spark within ourselves and the other.
It sounds like the kind of love we all aspire to.
Right.
The kind of love that elevates and inspires us. But where does the devil fit into this idyllic picture?
Well, Ouspensky believed that love could be distorted, becoming a source of suffering rather than liberation. The devil card, it represents that shadow side of love, those ways in which we can become enslaved by our desires.
Oh.
Clinging to relationships that no longer serve us, or using love as a weapon to get our needs met.
So it's not that love itself is bad. It's how we use it, how we allow it to be influenced by our own ego and shadow.
Precisely. Ouspensky believed that true love was about freedom. About supporting each other's growth and evolution, about recognizing that inherent divinity in each other.
Right.
But when love becomes distorted by fear, insecurity, the need for control, it can lead to suffering and bondage.
It's a reminder that even the most beautiful and powerful forces like love can be misused. It's up to us to cultivate awareness and intention in our relationships, to ensure that love is truly a force for good in our lives. Okay, I'm starting to see how this alchemical lens can be applied to any relationship, not just romantic ones. It's about understanding those dynamics of power and desire. The potential for both liberation and bondage in any connection.
That's a profound observation. Ouspensky, he believed that all relationships were mirrors, reflecting back to us our own strengths and weaknesses, our own light and shadow. And by paying attention to those reflections, we can learn and grow, evolving towards greater self-awareness and spiritual maturity.
Okay, this is really making me think. What other pairs stand out in Ouspensky's alchemical system?
Let's move on to a pair that speaks to that tension between tradition and upheaval. The Hierophant, card number 5, and the Tower, card number 16.
Those are two powerful cards, each representing a different aspect of authority and belief systems. The Hierophant, with his papal attire and cross keys, that often represents, tradition, organized religion, the established order.
Yeah.
And then the Tower, with its lightning bolt striking the crown and figures falling from that crumbling structure. Let's just say it's a bit more bit more dramatic.
Yeah.
How did Ouspensky connect those two seemingly disparate energies?
Well, he saw the Hierophant as representing those outer structures of belief,
Okay.
the dogmas and doctrines that can provide a framework for understanding the world.
Right.
But he also saw the potential for those structures to become rigid,
Yeah.
limiting our growth and preventing us from accessing our own inner truth.
So it's not about, rejecting all tradition or authority. It's about questioning it, seeking our own inner guidance, and recognizing that true knowledge, it comes from within.
Exactly. Ouspensky, he believed that the real initiation, the real journey of transformation was an internal one, a process of self-discovery and direct experience.
Right.
The Hierophant, he can guide us, but ultimately we need to find our own path, and that's where the tower comes in, right?
Right.
It represents that shattering of illusions, that breaking down of old structures and beliefs that no longer serve us.
It can be a painful process, like having the
Yeah.
rug pulled out from under us,
Yeah.
but it's often necessary for growth and transformation to occur.
Precisely. Ouspensky believed that the tower represented a necessary crisis. A wake-up call that forces us to confront the limitations of our current understanding and embrace a new, more expansive perspective. It's like the alchemist's process of calcination, where they would heat a substance to very high temperature to burn away impurities and reduce it to its essential essence.
So even though it might feel chaotic and destructive at the time, the tower is actually a catalyst for growth and awakening.
Yeah.
A necessary stage in that alchemical process.
Exactly. It's like a lightning bolt striking the tower of our ego, shattering our illusions and opening us to a deeper truth. It's a reminder that sometimes we need to let go of what we think we know in order to make room for something new and transformative to emerge.
Okay, this is blowing my mind. It's like Ouspensky's giving us a whole new way to interpret these cards.
Mm-hmm.
Revealing their hidden depths, connecting them to this alchemical process of transformation. What other pairings can we explore through this lens?
Let's dive into the intriguing combination of Strength, card number 8, and the Devil, card number 15.
Wait, didn't we already discuss the Devil in relation to the Lovers?
We did, but remember Ouspensky, he saw the Devil as a very multifaceted archetype. Representing different aspects of our shadow selves, and in the context of Strength, the Devil, he represents those raw primal instincts within us, those forces of passion and desire and aggression that can be both destructive and creative.
So it's not about denying or suppressing those instincts. It's about learning to harness them.
Yeah.
To integrate them into our being in a healthy and balanced way.
Exactly. Strength, in Ouspensky's interpretation, it's not about, brute force or domination, but about mastery over our inner world.
Right.
The woman in the card, she isn't overpowering the lion with physical strength. She's taming it with gentleness and understanding.
It's like recognizing that those primal instincts are a part of us.
Yeah.
They're part of our life force, but they don't have to control us. We can choose to integrate them, to channel that energy into something positive and creative.
That's a powerful insight. Ouspensky believed that true strength, it came from acknowledging and integrating all aspects of ourselves, including the shadow. Mm-hmm. It's only when we face our demons, when we understand and accept those darker aspects of ourselves, that we can truly transcend them and harness their power for good.
Okay, this is giving me a whole new perspective on personal growth. It's not about striving for some idealized version of ourselves where we've eradicated all our flaws. It's about embracing our wholeness,
Right.
Both the light and the shadow.
That's a very Ouspenskian perspective. He believed that the journey of self-discovery, it was a lifelong process, a constant dance between integrating our shadow and realizing our potential.
This is fascinating. I'm eager to see how Ouspensky connected other seemingly contrasting cards. What other pairings stand out in his system.
Well, let's explore the intriguing juxtaposition of the Hermit, card number 9, and Time, also known as the Wheel of Fortune, card number 10.
Now those seem like, I don't know, like an unusual pairing to me. The Hermit with his lantern and staff, he's often associated with solitude and introspection, seeking wisdom in silence. And then Time with its spinning wheel and figures, rising and falling. That seems to represent the relentless flow of change, the constant movement of life, the ups and downs of fortune. How did Ouspensky bridge those two seemingly disparate concepts?
Well, he saw the Hermit as representing that inner journey of self-discovery.
Yeah. Okay.
That willingness to withdraw from the distractions of the world and seek truth within. The Hermit, he's the seeker, the alchemist who ventures into the unknown, guided by the light of his inner wisdom.
It sounds like a solitary path.
Yeah.
A bit lonely perhaps, but also incredibly courageous. Where does Time fit into this?
Well, Ouspensky believed that time was not a linear progression, but a cycle, a wheel constantly turning, bringing us back to the same points, again and again. He saw the Hermit as a master of time, I guess you could say, one who understands that cyclical nature of life and uses that knowledge to transcend the limitations of the material world.
So it's like the Hermit through his inner journey, he gains a deeper understanding of time, realizing that everything is connected.
Yeah.
That there's no true beginning or end. That everything is in constant flux, but there's also an underlying order to it all.
Exactly. Ouspensky believed that the Hermit, by embracing solitude and introspection, could access a timeless wisdom, a perspective that transcended that fleeting nature of the material world. He could see the patterns, the cycles, the interconnectedness of all things.
It's like stepping off the hamster wheel of everyday life and gaining a bird's eye view of the entire cycle.
Yeah.
Seeing the interconnectedness of all things.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And it really highlights how Ouspensky saw the tarot as a tool for expanding our consciousness, for breaking free from the limitations of our ordinary perception and experiencing a more holistic understanding of reality.
Okay, this is incredible. I'm starting to see how each card pairing reveals a deeper layer of meaning, connecting us to these universal principles of alchemy and transformation and the interconnectedness of all things.
That's the beauty of Ouspensky's approach. He invites us to see the tarot not just as a tool for divination, but as a profound system for self-knowledge and spiritual growth.
I'm so excited to keep exploring this alchemical perspective. What other card pairings can we delve into?
Let's take a look at a pair that speaks to that inevitability of change and the transformative power of letting go. The Wheel of Fortune, card number 10, and Death, card number 13.
Now those are two powerful cards, often associated with fate and change and transformation. The Wheel of Fortune, with its spinning wheel and figures rising and falling, that represents the ups and downs of life, the cyclical nature of fortune and misfortune. And Death, well, that card can be a bit intimidating, with its skeletal figure riding a white horse, reaping souls in its wake.
Exactly. But Ouspensky, he saw death not as a literal ending, but as a symbol of transformation, a shedding of the old to make way for the new. He believed that death, like the Wheel of Fortune, was an integral part of the cycle of life.
Yeah.
A necessary process for growth and evolution.
So it's not about fearing death or trying to cling to what we have. It's about understanding that change is inevitable and that embracing those changes can lead to profound transformation.
Precisely. Ouspensky believed that resisting change, clinging to the past, that was ultimately futile. The Wheel of Fortune, it will keep spinning, life will keep moving forward, and death in its many forms will come for us all.
It's like that saying, the only constant is change.
Exactly. And by surrendering to that change, by embracing that inevitability of death and rebirth, we can tap into that transformative power of the alchemical process. We can let go of what no longer serves us and allow ourselves to be reborn into a higher state of being.
Okay, this is really shifting my perspective. It's like Ouspensky is encouraging us to reframe our relationship with change, to see it not something to be feared, but as an opportunity for growth and renewal.
That's a very Ouspenskian perspective. He believed that true wisdom came from embracing the impermanence of all things, from understanding that everything is in constant flux.
This is incredible. I'm eager to keep exploring Ouspensky's insights. What other card pairings can we delve into?
Let's take a look at a pairing that invites us to examine our beliefs and to see the world from a different perspective. Justice, card number 11, and the Hanged Man, card number 12.
So it seemed like, I don't know, those seem like interesting cards to pair. Justice with her scales and sword.
All right, so we're back diving deeper into Ouspensky's Alchemical Tarot. We've already seen how he views these cards as like a guide for inner transformation, but we've got even more to uncover, more to explore.
Definitely. I mean, it's fascinating how every card pairing reveals new layers, especially when we see them through that alchemical lens. So what pairing are we going to look at next?
Well, let's take a look at the Moon, card number 18, and the Devil, that's card number 15.
Okay.
This pair really it takes us deep into those shadowy parts of the unconscious, where we have to face those illusions and temptations that can hold us back from true liberation.
Now, we already talked about the Devil, in relation to the Lovers in Strength, but you mentioned that Ouspensky saw the Devil as a complex figure, right, representing different sides of our shadow selves.
Right.
So in this case, in the context of the Moon, what aspect is the Devil embodying?
I'd say in this pairing, the Devil represents those illusions and fears that can really, cloud our judgment and lead us astray.
Right.
It's like he personifies that seductive power of the unconscious, like how our hidden desires and fears can actually manifest as like external temptations and obstacles.
So it's like the Moon is shining a light on those hidden dangers that are lurking in our unconscious.
Yeah.
And then the Devil is embodying those dangers, kind of enticing us to give in to those lower impulses.
Exactly. The Moon card, it often shows a landscape that's covered in darkness.
Right.
And there's this path winding between these two towers, which, symbolizes that duality we face in life in this journey. It represents that realm of dreams, illusions, and the unknown. A place where it's easy to get lost if we're not paying attention.
Yeah. And then the Devil with his horns and hooves and that inverted pentagram, he's kind of standing at the crossroads, right? Tempting us to stray from that path.
Yeah.
He embodies those fears and desires that can really trap us in those shadowy places.
Yeah.
And keep us from reaching our true potential.
Absolutely. Ouspensky really believed that we all have this shadow side, a part of ourselves that we don't really want to acknowledge, but it's in those in those dark parts of ourselves, those hidden corners where our deepest feels and desires are. And if we're not willing to face them, they can take over, lead us down a path of self-disruption.
So it's not about denying that shadow or suppressing it, right?
Right.
It's more about bringing it into the light, into our conscious awareness.
Yeah, it's about integration, about making it part of our wholeness. Ouspensky believed that the very first step toward transformation was, just acknowledging that our shadow exists.
Right.
And then learning to, integrate it into our conscious awareness. It's only when we face our demons that we can really transcend them.
It's like that saying, the only way out is through,
Yeah.
We can't just ignore our shadow or pretend it's not there. We have to face it directly, embrace it as part of who we are.
That's a very Ouspenskian perspective. He truly believed that real growth came from, facing our fears, integrating our shadow. It's only when we embrace our wholeness, both the light and the dark, that we can become truly free.
That reminds me of the alchemical process of putrefaction.
Yeah.
When the substance goes through a period
Yeah.
of decay and decomposition before it can be purified and transformed.
Right.
It's like we have to confront that darkness within ourselves before we can emerge into the light.
That's a great connection. Ouspensky really believed that the alchemical process was a metaphor for that, for that spiritual journey. And that every single stage of that process had a counterpart in our own inner transformation.
Okay, so with this pairing, we're being cautioned to be aware of those illusions and temptations, that can lead us astray. But we're also reminded that we have the power to overcome those challenges, right?
Right.
To face our shadow and come out the other side stronger and more whole.
That's a great takeaway. Ouspensky believed we all have that potential for both, for both great good and great evil. But ultimately, it's our choices that determine which path we take.
I'm ready for another pairing.
Okay.
What else can we explore with this alchemical perspective?
Let's look at a really radiant UO. The Sun, card number 19, and the World, card number 21.
Okay.
This pairing, it represents that culmination of the alchemical process, the realization of our true potential and our integration into the wholeness of existence.
Those are two of my favorite cards, to be honest.
Yeah, they're great.
The Sun, with that radiant child on the white horse, it just represents joy, abundance, vitality. And the World, with its dancing figure, surrounded by that wreath, it symbolizes, wholeness, completion, that realization of our potential.
Absolutely. And they represent those final stages of that alchemical journey.
Right.
The Sun, it symbolizes that illumination of consciousness, like that awakening to our true nature, to our nature as divine beings.
It's like that moment when the clouds part and the sun breaks through, bathing everything in warmth and light.
Exactly. And then the World, well, it represents the integration of that, of that illuminated consciousness into every part of our being. It's the manifestation of our wholeness in the world, the completion of that alchemical process.
So it's like the Sun is that spark of creation.
Yeah.
And then the World is, the full flowering of that energy, the expression of our divinity in the material world.
Precisely. Ouspensky believed that the Sun, it represented that raw potential that's within us all.
Right.
And then the World, it symbolized the realization of that potential, that culmination of our journey toward wholeness and self-actualization.
It's like we're moving from that, from that raw energy of the Sun to the refined expression of the world, bringing the divine spark into every part of our lives.
Exactly. And Ouspensky believed that this was the ultimate goal, of that whole alchemical process, to transform ourselves, to go from base metal into gold, to realize our full potential as divine beings.
This is amazing. It's like Ouspensky's giving us a whole new language for understanding the tarot and connecting it to that ancient wisdom of alchemy.
He is. And I really hope that this deep dive has sparked something in you, inspired you to explore these ideas further, to see the tarot not just as a tool for fortune telling, but as a really profound system for self-knowledge and spiritual growth.
It definitely has. Ouspensky's alchemical perspective, it's really opened up so many new layers of meaning in the cards. And I feel inspired to delve deeper into my own inner transformation.
That's great.
So, listeners, if you're feeling the same way, be sure to check out some of our other deep dives into esoteric wisdom and spiritual practices. Until next time, keep thinking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of yourselves and the universe.